Welcome to Arkham. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So, today we are going to talk about Elon Musk's baby mama drama. Because with 14 children and I don't know, like 6 or 7 different mothers, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for problems when you have that many women in your life and that many babies. So we will talk about that. We will also talk about the historic all female crew that featured Katy Perry and Gail King going into space. So we'll talk about their heroic journey to space. And we got a couple other stories we'll cover. Taylor Lorenz. I don't know how many of you are familiar with her, but she's a psychopath. So we'll talk about her and more today on Arkham. So if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell to stay notified every time we go live. And we go live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. So help me grow, help me become more powerful, and help me own the libs. You know, help me do that. That would bring me great joy. So anyway, uh, let's get into it. So I have previously discussed Elon Musk's relationship with Ashley St. Clair, and this is kind of old news by now. Everybody knows, that he was involved in Ashley St. Clair. She went public with, the fact that she, had his child and made it this big public ordeal because evidently she wasn't cool, getting, like $15 million and, $100,000 a month. That wasn't enough. So she wanted more. But I also want to be clear. I don't think Elon Musk is the good guy here. Okay. I don't think Ashley St. Clair is good. I don't think anybody is good in this situation, but Elon Musk, this could be an Achilles heel for Musk if he doesn't get it under control. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that when you're getting entangled with all these women, it could cause problems down the road, you know? And I don't think that is a headache that he needs trying to, colonize Mars. Now he certainly has enough people to do it. That's very clear. But I do think that getting involved with more than one woman uh, causes problems. It's not the intended way of doing things. I'm a one woman man. And honestly, I couldn't even imagine being married to more than one woman. One woman is enough. Uh, and I don't mean that in a like negative way. Like she is enough. She's my everything. I don't need anything more than her. She is, everything to me. And I just can't imagine dividing my attention to more than just my wife and my two kids, and we'll have some more, but that's enough, to have three different families with several, or to have families with several different women. I think is a problem, and these are just the ones I know off the top of my head. So you have Ashley St. Clair, you have Zillis, you have what's the other chick's name? God, she's like a pop star. Grimes. So there's like the three that I'm aware of off the top of my head that he has children with, and he has like 14 total children. Anyway, I do think that I want to play for you guys an old video real quick about Ashley St. Clair kind of talking about how she's, suffering from this whole thing, and she's forced to sell her Tesla. So this is an old video. This did make the rounds. But I'll play it again just to kind of set up a little bit of context for the story that we'll be reading from in the Wall Street Journal. All right, let's get this going. I realize I didn't capture the window. Here we go. Bingo. We're good. All right, let's play this.
I'm selling it because I need to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support.
Why do you think that he did that?
That's a great question for him.
You feel like he was sort of like vindictive against you in some way?
Yeah, that's his modus operandi when women speak out.
When was the last time that you spoke to him or tried to speak to him?
February 13th?
But he's just not responding to you at all? How would you characterize sort of the way that he's going about
you can check the stocks.
Okay.
I'm not the only one
We
who's
won't get you
setting
that.
up authorized passes.
We're not going to get you.
Anyway, she ends up selling her Tesla, because, the amount of money that she's getting got cut and she's not going to make it. But, he did respond back to this stating that he pays her um, some obscene amount of money a month. So she's getting monthly payments. She was originally offered millions of dollars, and that was enough. And then we find out that she's offered more. So that brings us to this Wall Street Journal story. So the tactics Elon Musk uses to manage his legion of babies and their mothers. So I do find this ironic because Ashley St. Clair has claimed to have wanted privacy. And this is, her second or third media interview where she's sitting down, inviting the press into her life and even posing for photos with the child that she supposedly wanted to protect from the world. Seems very bizarre to me to take this approach if you are somebody who is seeking privacy. But there she is with her baby. Ashley St. Clair wanted to prove that Elon Musk was the father of her newborn. But to ask the billionaire to take a paternity test, the right wing social media influencer had to go through Musk's longtime fixer, Jared Birchall. I don't want my son to feel like he's a secret, St. Clair told Birchall in a 2-hour phone call in December. Birchall offered St. Clair some advice. His boss is a very big heart and kind, generous person, he said, but Musk had a different side. When a mother of his child goes the legal route in these discussions, that always leads to the worst outcome for that woman than what would have been otherwise, Birchall told the 26-year-old. Plus, he said Musk wasn't sure the child was his. So I do have to say, I just find it shocking that Ashley did not know what she is getting into. This man regularly, he's had several marriages. He's been with he'd already had children with multiple women. Did she think that she was going to be special? Did you think you were going to be the special one? A woman, a fraction of his age? No, no. It wasn't the first such conversation for Birchall. His public job is running Musk's family office, and he recently helped organize Musk's more than 250 million push in support of Donald Trump's election. Behind the scenes, Birchall also manages the financial and privacy deals Musk wants for the women raising the world's richest man's babies. Musk has 14 children with 4 women. Okay, so 4 women total. This includes pop musician Grimes, yep, Siobhan Zillis, yep, an executive at a brain computer company Neuralink, and she seems to be like the favorite. She's the one that is, at the events with his baby. That's her. Actually, I think 2 other kids. Multiple sources close to the tech entrepreneur said they believe the true number of Musk's children is probably much higher than publicly known. Oh, so he probably has like 20 or 30 babies out there. Musk has at least 14 children with 4 women. I just read that. Musk offered Ashley St. Clair. Wait, that's Grimes, Siobhan, and St. Clair. That's 3 so far. $15 million and $100,000 a month in support for her silence about the child, whom they named Romulus. Similar agreements had been negotiated with other mothers of Musk's children, Birchall told St. Clair. Wow. 15 million. I mean, that's a lot of money. 15 million dollars just to keep that private. And again, I would be more understanding if she didn't understand who Elon Musk was when she got involved with him. I'm quite sure she intentionally did this. Actually, she admits that this was her plan all along, to baby trap Elon. except, she wasn't the one that was going to be, you know, uh, the chick that Musk kept on his arm at events. He wasn't going to be the Siobhan. She wasn't going to be the Siobhan Zillis. So, and I guess he has similar deals with the other woman in his life. The fight with St. Clair over the terms of the deal for their baby has been ongoing as Musk has assumed one of the most influential roles in U.S. government. As top advisor to President Trump, he has been slashing the staff and billions of dollars from the federal government as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, with massive benefit programs such as Social Security and Medicare in the crosshairs. Yeah, I don't really think that's true. But anyway, Musk's baby making project is relevant to his ambition for NASA, which he wants to move. Blah 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 blah. Let's go under his business. Musk refers to his offspring as a legion, a reference to an ancient military unit that could contain thousands of soldiers and were key to extending the reach of the Roman Empire. During St. Clair's pregnancy, Musk suggested that they bring in other women to have even more of their children faster to reach legion level before the apocalypse. Man, he's bought in. He said to St. Clair in a text viewed by the Wall Street Journal, "We will need to use surrogates." Yeah, that's another downside. Conservatives aren't really talking about. This guy is using surrogates to have all these babies. So maybe I'm assuming maybe that's what he did here with Ashley, and that's not good. So he's literally renting women's wombs to have his legion of children. I mean, doing it the other way wouldn't be more. I mean, would be just as degenerate, but at least like you could make an argument for naturally doing it, but it's still serial fornication because he's not actually committing to any of these women. Musk has used his wealth to buy silence of some of the women who have kids, according to St. Clair, as well as other people. Text messages and documents reviewed by the Journal. Bertrand describes Musk's expectations to St. Clair. Privacy and confidentiality is the top of the list in every aspect of his life, and every aspect in his entire world is set up to be like a meritocracy. Benefits flow, he said, when people do good work. And it makes sense for him to do this because being one of the most influential men in the world and being one of the most wealthy men in the world puts you in the crosshairs of some very unhinged individuals who might aim to use Musk's children against him, which is something that I actually don't really respect Ashley St. Clair for, because I don't think she's somebody that sincerely cared about the truth getting out there. I think she sincerely cares about keeping the money bags flowing. And in the process, she exposed her child. And, she can have her problems with Musk, but I do not think that was the right move or the right call. During the call with Bertrand, St. Clair told him she received outreach from a woman Musk had invited to have his baby. She said she was being caught up in Musk's harem drama. The details of Musk's baby mission are only now starting to spill into the public. Grimes begged Musk in February for help on X when one of their children was having a medical crisis because Musk wouldn't engage with her. Earlier that month, after their 4-year-old son also called X. Can we talk about this too? Like, why does he name his kids such weird names? Romulus and X? Come on. You named your child a letter. Just X. It could work if his last name was his middle name was Gunn and the end of it was Give It To You, but I don't think this works. So had been on national television and on his father's shoulders as he talked about government cuts in the Oval Office. Grimes posted that he should not be in public like this. Oh, so I was under the impression that was Zillis' son, but I guess that's Grimes. I mean, it's difficult to keep up with 14 kids, Sue me. A person familiar with Musk thinking on thinking on the agreement with the mothers of his children, said that Musk believes that it is better to resolve these matters behind closed doors for the safety and security of the child. Yeah, I actually think that makes sense. You really don't want to get into these public spats. You don't want any information about your children exposed, especially if you're a man as high profile as he is. But this is also something too, like I'm not letting him off the hook. He should have been cognizant of. You are the world's, one of the world's most richest men. You should understand that it gets increasingly more difficult to, uh, control people when you are abandoning them. you know when you are using them as glorified baby making machines. You know it, it doesn't surprise me that Ashley St. Clair is acting like a woman scorned. Musk has warned that civilization is going to crumble if people don't start having more children, a view popularized as a pronatalism in right wing circles. The pronatalism movement is compromised of people concerned about the birth rates and are eager to implement policy and cultural solutions to the problem. Yeah, well, that is a huge problem, because if our birth rates continue to sink below replacement level, we're heading for crisis. We won't have enough people to work. We won't have enough people to keep our infrastructure going, and our society will collapse. That's quite the problem. So it is a huge problem. At the same time, our country, murders thousands of babies a year through abortion. So, yeah, that has to be taken care of. Martin Vorosky, a friend of Musk's who founded a large chain of in vitro fertilization clinics in the US, said he has spoken with Musk about the risks of falling birth rates. Without babies, there is no future. Every problem becomes secondary to the problem of not having people on the planet, said Vorosky. Elon believes that this country is not the it's is not the geography. A country is the people. Yeah, that's true. Man, I'm not reading all of this. It's too much. But I did want to talk about this Tiffany Fung thing because I think this is important. While Musk's posts sometimes dozens of times a day on Ask about right-wing politics or his companies, among other things on his mind, he interacts with lesser-known users. He replies to them and sometimes interacts through direct messages, some of whom he eventually solicits to have his babies. Hey, I'm Elon Musk, and would you like to have one of my babies? Yeah, just casually slip it in there. According to the people who have viewed his messages, cryptocurrency influencer Tiffany Fung was covering disgraced crypto tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried's downfall when Musk started liking and replying to her posts. Musk's interactions ramped up as Fung posted more political content in support of Trump, and Musk followed her last summer. That sort of attention from Musk on X, where he has 219 million followers, sent droves of followers to Fung, which was a financial boom. More engagement meant more earnings for her part of the revenue sharing program for creators on X. And I want to talk about this for a minute because I do think it's important. So, the revenue sharing program on X has been under a great deal of scrutiny because, to the discerning mind, it had become clear that there were people that were getting more favorable outcomes in the revenue sharing program without disclosing that they were getting boosted by Elon. And Ashley St. Clair actually initially sparked these concerns because she was sharing her payout information and she was making thousands of dollars, where other people of equal influence were making less money. And then Tiffany Fung was bragging about how she was making money on X, and this was, after people saw her have interactions with Elon Musk, and then everybody started to ask the question, is she involved with him somehow? And it seems like the answer is kind of. So we'll continue reading this story. During the height of her interactions with the billionaire owner, Fong earned $21,000 on the platform in a 2-week period in November, according to a screenshot. That was about when Musk sent her a direct message asking if she was interested in having his children. a child, according to people familiar with the matter. The two had never met in person. Fong didn't move forward with Musk because she pictured having children in a more traditional nuclear family, but confided to a few friends about the approach, including Ashley St. Clair, whom she knew as another conservative social media figure, and how she was worried that turning him down could hurt her earnings. Well, spoiler, that's exactly what happened. Once Musk learned that Fong disclosed the request to others, he chided her for not using discretion according to the people and unfollowed her. That contributed to the fall in her engagement, and her earnings declined. St. Clair and Musk had met earlier in the spring in 2023 and began interacting with the influencer's post on X and followed her account. Soon after that, they were exchanging direct messages before Musk invited her to visit the social media platform's San Francisco office, and then the relationship turned romantic. All right, so Elon Musk essentially used X to funnel money to these attractive influencers, to proposition them to have his children, which seems kind of dishonest. And it wasn't like it wasn't obvious too. When you have somebody making $21,000 in a 2-week period, it definitely raises some eyebrows. And I'm not just saying this too as somebody that's salty from getting banned from the X monetization program and my old account getting completely nuked, even though I'm really upset about it. I'll never forgive him for that. It is kind of gross and a little weird. That's creepy. We use the term creepy a lot. That actually is creepy behavior. Artificially bump their money and then try to use that as leverage to get them to bury your children. Weird. But there's going to be a lot of women that are lining up to take this deal because, the insane amount of money that he actually pays these women to be mothers to his children. $15 million is what he offered Ashley St. Clair. $15 million, $100,000 a month. That is insane money. That is life-changing money. And I gather that there's going to be many, many more women that are more than willing and unashamedly on board with doing this with Musk. So the question is, should conservatives continue to celebrate this man as a hero when he engages in very unconservative-like behavior? And I would say we have to pick and choose our criticisms. I do not think Musk should be above reproach. We should celebrate him when he's doing awesome things like, saving the government billions of dollars through the Department of Government Efficiency. But we should also take him to task when he's behaving like a degenerate, more intellectual version of Andrew Tate. That's our duty as conservatives, because this behavior is not conservative at all. It's disruptive to the nuclear family unit and treats women like commodities, props up the surrogacy industry and the IVF industry, which that in and of itself is a massive problem. I mean, a massive problem that has opened the door to, same-sex couples having babies. And I played that Saturday Night Live skit not too long ago. It's gross. It's weird. It's unnatural. And propping that industry up helps that flourish. All in all, though, I do not think there's any winners or losers here, or winners here. I think, this situation sucks. Bringing children into the world without a present father sucks. We don't need more fatherlessness. Trying to baby trap a man, also not, a recipe for a good time. And thankfully, Tiffany Fong was wise enough to say no. But I don't think other women are going to exercise the same discretion. Speaking of women and speaking of space, we are going to talk about the historic Blue Origin all-female crew that was launched into an epic journey into outer space. Let me start off by playing this footage of Katy Perry and Gayle King and some other women who I have no idea who they are in space. This is incredible. Groundbreaking footage.
Got it?
Oh, that's Jeff Bezos' wife.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Taking up space!
Tamir's in space.
Flynn, behind you. Look, right behind you. It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, behind you. Look.
Flynn, I gotcha. I gotcha, Flynn.
Gotcha. Proud of you, Flynn.
Flynn, can't lift it up.
Oh, the moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
Wow, look at the blue line.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh my That's our pink moon.
Okay. Now it's time to look out.
Oh my
space
gosh.
colony.
She's so much.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's amazing. Got it?
So this is truly historic, but I think what's truly historic about it is not that there were women in space, because that's been done before, but this is the most lip filler that has ever been in space. Actually, I don't even think they would have needed a rocket to get up there. I think if they just pumped a little bit more lip filler into all their lips, they would have just floated up to space on their own. And then they would have been the first women in history to reach, go past the Earth's atmosphere strictly by using lip filler. But that wasn't the case. So this was a glorified vanity project. And I don't have an issue with people going to space, all right? So I just want to throw that out there. I think that's awesome. I would love to go to space, okay? I would be stoked about that. But here's a huge, I think, note that needs to be mentioned. The reason that you're going for space. So the way this story has been framed, the way the media has covered it, it was like they were going into space to like colonize Mars or something, to do something, nobody's ever done before. But and the way they react when they get back is even more hilarious. When Katy Perry got back, she's seen kissing the ground. and you would think, but judging by this reaction, that Katy Perry and this crew of women has been in space for years, or they've been like those astronauts that were, stuck on the space station for 9 months and finally, getting rescued and returning to Earth. The reality, though, is that they were only in space for 11 minutes. That's right, 11 minutes total. And she is kissing the ground like she has been gone for ages and she has just returned back from some heroic rescue mission. It's ridiculous. It just is. This was space tourism. This was nothing more than a vanity project. These women are not astronauts, even though Gayle King calls herself an astronaut. You are not an astronaut. You are not going and doing deep, space exploration. You didn't have a specific mission that you were trying to accomplish, unless, getting lip filler into space, is a great scientific achievement. Then well done. But other than that, no. So I don't think, I think the celebration of this is wildly overblown and ridiculous. And I just wish, so in that video that they were doing of them in space, 90% of the video is focused on them. It's it's their faces in the shot. It's not looking out and them simply commenting on what they're observing and what they're experiencing. It's just, them acting goofy and, making a joke about, taking up space because they're women, and they gotta take up space. It just cringe, just total cringe in my opinion. And the reactions after, and then when Katy Perry comes down, she's talking, doing an interview and talking about experiencing the divine feminine, whatever the hell that means. The whole thing is just obnoxious. So, and there's been women who have gone to space before, by the way. They are far from the first people to go to space. And these are actually, female astronauts who have gone to space. So they've done nothing historic, nothing original. They're just very wealthy people who happen to be friends with Jeff Bezos, who is, in charge or runs Blue Origin, and they're friends with his wife, and she got them, the golden ticket to go into space, which again is cool, but we need to apply the right perspective. It's cool for a specific reason. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. All right, next story, a little heavier. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So, I'm catching up on this, so we'll be kind of reading the developments of this story together. But I had saw earlier a story floating around of a father that was nearly decapitated by a man with a hatchet while he was at a bus stop. So let's read this story by the Daily Wire. Father almost decapitated by a man with a hatchet at a bus stop fighting for his life. The couple was on their way home to teenage daughters to when the alleged assailant struck as the victim bent over to grab their bags. Horrific. A young man en route back home to Alabama with his wife was viciously attacked by an assailant with a hatchet that severed an artery in his neck as they waited at the bus stop in Tucson, Arizona. Jacob, 32, a father of two young teenagers, was waiting at the bus stop with his wife, Kristen, who said she and her husband had told the man they were leaving as Jacob bent over to pick up their luggage on April 5th. That's the moment the alleged assailant, later identified as 25-year-old Daniel Michael, who allegedly had been yelling at the couple, according to the court records, viciously attacked her husband. Kristen said, adding, "Seeing your husband get almost decapitated and being the only one to help, like, it's hard. Looked at him and could tell he was agitated and told my husband, don't say anything else to him." She said, "I told him we were leaving, like, okay, just calm down. And he waited until my husband bent down to come up behind him and attack him. The injury cut the artery in the back of his neck and in half, and it went so deep that it hit his skull." That's horrific. If you're going downtown when you're drunk carrying a large machete like that, you have no other intentions other than to cause harm to somebody, Coach's brother Luke told KOLD. He went down there looking for trouble, and it just so happens to be my brother who is not going to make it home from this. Man, that's really, really sad. She said she told her husband that he's stronger than he thinks, and he is, and that we're all here, and we're all going to be here when he comes back. Kristen said, "We're not giving up until he does. He's a fighter, and we believe in the power of prayer." Yeah, and we should most certainly say a prayer for this couple, because I could not imagine being in that situation. You have kids at home, you're out there with your wife, and you suddenly get attacked by this madman. It's horrific. Michael, who reportedly said he had been drinking earlier, denied the attack. When police showed him surveillance video of the area where the attack took place, he confirmed that it was him in the footage, according to KOLD. Michael is being held in jail at $1 million bond. Let's see. I think Liv's TikTok got the video of this guy. Yeah, this is the individual. Monster. Just an absolute monster. Uh, and this is reasons why I am a big proponent of the death penalty. Like, you do something like this, you attempt to murder a man, you're clearly a danger to society. You're clearly a monster. I would not bat an eye if that was what this guy got. But probably he's just going to go to prison for a long time and one day get out and attack somebody again, because that makes way more sense and is far more compassionate. You know, so horrible. And but I do pray for this family. And this is just just be aware of your surroundings. You see somebody walking around with a machete, go the other way, get away from them, or a hatchet or whatever. you know and if somebody seems visually agitated, do your best just to get away from them. Have that situational awareness where you're not putting yourself in harm's way or your family in harm's way. you know and the wife is lucky that she walked away unscathed, but now her husband is in a situation where he's fighting for his life. But I will, pray for them, and I hope that you guys do too, because they need it. And I do believe that God is a God that answers prayers. He hears us, and if we petition, if we join together in prayer, I do believe that her husband can pull through this. All right. Speaking of psychopaths, I want to play this clip of Taylor Lorenz. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. We're going to listen to some of it. But Sean Hannity is interviewing Taylor Lorenz, who is, formerly worked for the Washington Post. And she has just been over the moon about what, Luigi Maggione did to the CEO, assassinating the healthcare CEO. She's just been, over the moon about that, considers the guy a hero. So let's hear from her in this interview with Hannity. And this is brought to us by Nick Sorda. Good follow.
You feel joy. Those are your words. So you felt joy over the murder of this father. No, those are the words you use. You can shake your head all you want.
No.
We have the tape. We have the tape. And number one, then you go on to say, and people wonder why we want these executives dead. Then you posted an image of the Blue Cross CEO, Kim Keck. Now, let me ask you, what part of this United Healthcare CEO being a father and a husband don't you understand? And what part of you having a choice of what healthcare provider you choose to deal with or not do you not understand? Because you don't have to go with United. You don't have to go with Blue Cross.
So let me just be extra clear. Never did I say that I felt joy in his death. I said very explicitly, if you play the full segment, and actually people can watch that segment on my YouTube in full, not the edited version that Piers showed. I said that I felt joy, along with millions of other Americans, that the brutality of our healthcare system was finally being acknowledged. I believe that our current healthcare system is murderous, right? I mean, we have uninsured Americans with a 40% higher risk of death compared to insured counterparts.
Taylor,
Nearly 70,000 Americans die each year due to lack of health insurance.
Taylor, that's not the topic. If you can talk about healthcare, I don't like the healthcare system either, and a lot of people have experienced frustration, like you're saying. That, to me, is separate and apart from the debate of praising, calling handsome, smart, intelligence, being joyful over the death and assassination of innocent people. And that's what your comments did. Your comments basically put your seal of approval on murder and assassination. And I'm trying to understand whether you like this guy, like the way he does business or not, you're advocating and putting a smiley face on assassination. And I'm trying to understand what is in your soul that doesn't understand he's a father and a husband here. What are you missing? There seems to be a missing chip with you.
Sean, if you'd like to hear, I will need to talk in order to explain.
I don't want the rationalization. I want you to think about what you said. Explain what you said.
What I said. Again, I'm attempting to right now, so I'd ask you to please give the space and try to listen here. As I said once again, never did I say I felt joy that this man died. I said again that I felt joy that millions of Americans or millions of really wealthy Americans and privileged Americans are forced to wake up to the reality that nearly 70,000 Americans die each year due to lack of health insurance. I do feel joyful that
Okay,
that
you're
is an
back
issue
to
that's
the
being talked
healthcare
about.
debate. Why would any human being with a conscience and soul be joyful over an assassination of any person? Why would anybody be joyful over that?
Well, actually, that's a good question. Why don't I explain?
It's a great question.
The other clip that you played is not me saying my own beliefs. I have quite different beliefs from that. What I'm describing, and if you watch the full segment, not just the clip, you'll see that I'm describing the mentality of these fangirls that show up outside Luigi's court and show up outside his jail cell. Those girls are not me, okay? We have very separate belief systems, but I was describing how they believe. And now let me explain to you why people in America feel this way. People in America feel this way, and they feel outraged because, again, every penny of the $22 billion in profit made by United Health was made at the expense and suffering of others. And that is violence. Our healthcare system is also violent. And that is a violence that people in the mainstream media, such as yourself, continue to refuse to acknowledge. So if
Isn't it a little funny that she's calling our healthcare system violent? But I suspect she would be somebody that would support like universal healthcare. I'm just gonna go on a limb here and assume that. So they just keep going back and forth. And I did see her express, glee over, the death of, this healthcare CEO, and she still is trying to ultimately justify his death as a conversation starter, which is still equally horrific. We don't need to murder people to have conversations about how corrupt the healthcare system is. It is corrupt, and there are, less violent ways to accomplish that. And it doesn't seem like she's open to those ways. And I have seen people celebrating Luigi Maglione, commenting on his appearance, rejoicing that he shot this guy, basically putting their stamp of approval on vigilantism. And I don't know what that's ultimately going to do to hold these people accountable. Um, there's a way that's not the way. And yeah, Taylor Lanz is just a crazy person. Okay, we'll do a couple of reaction videos, and then we'll wrap things up. There is a one video that's kind of crazy. So obviously, if you are an adult, you've at some point had to call in to get customer service, and you have been confronted with the difficulty of trying to understand a thick Indian accent. And very frustratedly, you have to ask them to repeat over and over again. What did you say? I'm sorry. Can you please just say that one more time? I didn't catch that. And they continue on explaining to you some very important piece of information with their thick Indian accent, and you continue to be baffled, but you just nod approvingly and just go along with it, even though you don't understand what's actually going on. Well, it seems like AI is presenting us a solution to that problem, but I think in doing so, they're going to create bigger problems. Let's play this clip featuring this technology called CRISP, which makes accents sound more American.
Hello, my name is Manoj and I'm a call center agent from India. Clear communication is vital for my customers and me, but accent barriers can sometimes make it challenging. That's where crisp accent conversion comes in. Let me show you the voice preservation mode in action.
This mode keeps my original voice intact while softening challenging parts of my accent. It helps customers understand me better, improving satisfaction on both sides of the call.
I turned it off now, so you can hear the difference clearly. I'll now turn it on again.
Notice how my natural tone and personality shine through? This mood allows me to stay authentic, making every interaction more personal and effective. By removing accent barriers in real time, crisp accent conversion enables clear conversations and ensures an exceptional experience for both customers and agents alike. Thank you for watching this demo.
That's crazy, yo. So, and somebody said it here. Scam calls unlock some new features. Yeah, that was my first thought. Man, these scam calls are going to take be next level because like one of the dead giveaways that you're getting a scam call is the thick Indian accent. So when they call for your car's extended warranty, okay, if they have a thick Indian accent, this is most likely a scam call. But now they're going to be using the American accent, which we, trust a little bit more. And I think they're going to get over on a lot of people, especially grandmas. And I do think this is going to be used to improve the scam game, which is unfortunate. And I do think we're living in a time period where we almost need to make like some sort of mandatory course in school where people understand that, there are just scammers out there, and as we are constantly engaging online and our lives are ever dependent on technology, we really do need to get good at identifying scams, especially too with the rise of AI being able to do stuff like, change your accent so that you sound less Indian and more American or whatever, country you're from. That's a huge problem for us, and then you couple that with technology where you can alter your appearance to look like specific individuals if they can use that technology to copy the voice of you know somebody like me, and try to trick my family using scam calls. It's next level, and it's Orwellian. So just something I thought I would bring to your attention, and you can be more on guard. Oh, I want to talk about this. All right. So kind of off topic, but I like watching. I like watching shows, and I have been watching The Last of Us because I did play the games or game, the first game, and so this was a so this is a comment from Neil Druckmann, who says that Joel was right to save Ellie in The Last of Us. I believe Joel was right. If I were in Joel's position, I hope I would be able to do what he did to save my daughter. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, I'm going to give a spoiler. They are living in this post-apocalyptic world with these, fungus monsters, and Ellie is essentially the cure to that. But in order to get the cure, extract the cure from her, she had to be killed by these scientists. Well, Joel is not having that, and he ends up like murdering all the scientists and saving Ellie. And I agree with Neil Druckmann. I would absolutely doom the entire world to save my daughters. I would let you all turn into mold monsters if it meant saving my kids. So it's actually a pretty relatable moment because I would do it without hesitation, and this is something that, I guess is going to be one of the main, points of contention between him and Ellie in this new season of The Last of Us, which first episode was kind of lame, not that good. I'm liking Bella Ramsey less as Ellie. I just don't think she was a good fit. And I don't even think really Pedro Pascal is a good fit for Joel, but he's not doing a terrible job. But I don't know. I also don't like the gay scenes at all. It's like it just kind of makes it unwatchable for me, if I'm being completely honest. So yeah, there was like one whole episode in the first season. I just completely skipped it. I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this. Nope, don't care. I'm done with it. All right. All right. I guess we will end this with some good news because I like good news. All right, this is pretty wholesome. Arizona rancher's dog leads lost toddler to safety.
Buford, the Anatolian Pyrenees.
Buford, come on.
Protects the Dutton Ranch, walking the perimeter nightly to keep wildlife out. But on Tuesday morning, there was someone else Buford protected.
I see Buford coming down the deal right there with a little blonde-haired boy with him.
That blonde-haired boy's parents reported him missing the night before. The Yavapai County Sheriff's Office conducted a 16-hour search for the 2-year-old. It was Buford who found the toddler about 7 miles away from home, sleeping underneath a tree. Dutton knows if it wasn't for Buford, this happy ending might never have happened.
She's cooking him a steak for dinner tonight.
What a very good boy. Like that, those are the types of stories that are just kind of mind-blowing. You know, that this animal found this little boy and saved his life. Like that is the hand of God moving through these animals to save people in need. And I think that is an awesome story, and it's just really really cool. And yeah, that dog needs steaks the rest of the month. All right, that dog deserves a raise. Okay, that dog put in work and is a hero. Should get a Medal of Honor. Just an awesome dog. And I wish my dog was like that. I mean, I think my dog would protect me. Okay, he's pretty intimidating, but he's also very lazy. So if my toddler got lost, in the woods, even a mile away, my dog doesn't have the energy to even walk a mile. So basically, my kid would be doomed. But if you were a burglar and you broke into my house, well, you're going to get ripped apart. that I have no doubt would happen. So in that aspect, I am grateful for him. But if I had to depend on him to save, find my children in the woods, probably would not happen. All right. I think that's going to do it for me today, guys. I am enjoying being back. I am going to do my very best to be as consistent as possible. And my ultimate goal now is to get into the small creators program that Rumble has. So I'm going to be streaming a lot. I'm going to be doing some streams on the weekends too, probably really early Sunday morning and sometime after 9 o'clock on Saturday. And I'll be doing a variety of streams. I think I'll do some Bible readings because I think that's really important. So, I frequently decry the issue of biblical illiteracy on this channel. So I figured I might as well do my part and just read the Bible as a group. And I think it'll be something that's a little bit more interactive. I'm not, I'll read and I'll offer my commentary on certain passages, but it's going to be pretty chill. I'm not going to go in with this huge, in-depth study. I just want to read like I normally do and just kind of share my thoughts as we go through it. So I plan to start in Genesis and kind of just work my way through, as I go through streams. And I think that'll be really fruitful because I definitely have a lot of thoughts on the Bible. It's my favorite. So we'll do that. Maybe we'll revisit some game streams. I just gotta get my technology right because I have lag on my computer, like on the actual stream. It's choppy, so maybe I'll wait until my brother gives me his old computer. That's how I always upgrade. My brother, he gets like a new computer every couple of years, and I get his old one. But he builds really incredible rigs, so I'll still be getting something that is pretty top notch. So that'll be cool. So maybe I'll start doing that again when I get a computer, or maybe I'll get a capture card and just do stuff for my PlayStation. I don't know. We'll see. Sky's the limit. We could do all sorts of things. Anyway, if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell to stay notified every time we go live, because we go live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. And also follow me on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube because I do shorts there. And Rumble isn't really short friendly right now, but TikTok and Instagram are. So I'd appreciate your support there. I'm very close to breaking 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, if you want to get to my pages, just type rcam.tv in your search bar, and that will give you links to all my web pages, because I got super lucky and I got the domain name. I don't know how, but I did. Anyway, I hope you guys have a blessed night. Deuces.